Welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Does it feel weird? Feel different?
Well, yeah, this is my first podcast experience, so
A lot of people's.
yeah. So I've not much to compare it to, but
Yeah. Let's just jump right into it. Are you a dietitian or a nutritionist?
I am a dietitian. I'm actually a registered dietitian with the province of Prince Edward Island, and there's actually been some kind of change. Before, it used to be like anyone could call themselves a nutritionist, so we'd try to stay away from, if you were actually registered, stay away from that term. But now I think they've actually in most places registered that term as well, like a nutritionist. And basically the differences before would be just around like the registration part of it, and that you actually need like a lot of you need to be registered with a regulatory body.
Okay.
If you were like a registered dietitian. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I guess nowadays both are more interchangeable,
Mm-hmm.
but before it used to be more sticky.
How many different fields can you go into with being a dietitian? Like there's a hospital and then there's, I don't know, I really don't know, but I just know there's different spots you can go into.
Yeah, well there's different like areas that you can specialize in, kind of depending what your preference is, but there's like community dietitians, which could do more like public health based practices, or you could be working in a community like clinic or something like that. And then of course you have dietitians in the hospital, so they do more clinical things, and you can even be like, depending on the size of the hospital, like so usually in bigger centers you'd have a dietitian that specializes in each area, so you'd have like a renal dietitian, so all those kidney issues and stuff like that, they'd be all the experts in those areas.
Yeah.
And then you'd have dietitians in like that specialize more in like heart, cardiac kind of stuff like
Really?
that, and different areas of practices specific to the hospital. And then of course you'd have like your pediatrics and all that. So those are all like more you kind of really have to know your stuff, and even more like you do your liquid diets, which would be like enteral nutrition, or if someone's like in more worse shape, then they'd have the ones that actually goes like in through your veins, so
like an IV almost?
Yeah,
But for food?
yeah, basically. So that's even more tricky, and that's like parenteral nutrition is what that's called. But yeah, so those take a lot more numbers, and you got to figure out your exact ratio.
So what
for
do you
fats
do
and
exactly?
So actually, an interesting thing is that I'm actually not currently working as a dietitian. I'm still registered with the province, but my role right now is in a different area of the hospital. I'm actually working with volunteer services right now.
Nice.
But super random. But yeah, I guess before I was in this role though, I was in the food service part of dietetics. So that's another area, which is like food service management. So it could be in a hospital setting, or it could be in another food establishment.
So you taking care of like the nutritional aspect of a group of people, like for all the food that gets distributed throughout the hospital, I guess?
Yeah, like for example, for a hospital or even like a long-term care setting, you basically have to make sure that you have menus all done up, and usually it's like a rotational menu, so you have different menus for different days, and it could be changed weekly. Oops. Could be changed weekly.
You can punch that thing if you want.
Okay, I'll try to refrain without hitting the microphone. So it could be like a weekly menu where it's like the same every Monday, same every Tuesday, which obviously can get old pretty fast if it's the same patients. But then a lot of times it's like a 1 month rotation menu, or 6 weeks. So that kind of provides different types of menus for different types of people in the hospital. So if you're diabetic, you have foods that are specific for that condition, or again, if people have to be on a renal diet, so there's a lot less sodium, and you got to watch your potassium and stuff like that for those diets. And then you'd have your regular menu, and gluten-free.
Are most people on a regular menu?
Yeah, it could be like, I guess the stats would be different depending on the hospital, but from my experience, it has been like a good portion would be regular, but then you'd have a lot of heart healthy diets, and then a lot of diabetic as well. And then in smaller amounts, you'd have like lactose free or gluten free, Kind of, it varies as the patient population varies in the hospital.
And are you dealing with a certain amount? Like, can a dietitian only deal with so many people?
Typically, yeah. Typically, you have to see what the workload is for the dietitian there. So at the hospital that I currently work at, they have one inpatient dietitian that kind of deals with the patients all over the hospital. So typically, that would be the medical unit, which would be the people who'd be there a bit longer, and maybe the surgical. People coming out of surgery often will be on different restricted diets depending on what they're dealing with. So it's a pretty steady workload for them with that, but we're not a big enough hospital. We have about 104 beds. So it's not quite big enough to have specialized dietitians in like the renal dietitians and things like that. But there's also an outpatient dietitian at the hospital as well, and she's there about 50% of the time. So
yeah, I feel like you wouldn't see as much as that. For that person, you wouldn't need as much.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, you wouldn't have to see an outpatient, a dietitian as much as, I don't know, a regular hospital. Like,
yeah, exactly, because the care needs are a bit different,
mm-hmm.
right? Not quite as crucial, or you're more in a recovery phase, or you can see a outpatient dietitian for different things. But
what about injuries? So if someone comes in with like a certain injury, does that depict what they can eat? Would that change anything?
Sometimes. Again, it depends on how severe their condition may be.
I guess if it was like a throat injury, like you couldn't swallow food,
yeah,
like
definitely, or like, depending what kind of issue you're dealing with. Like sometimes, people can't eat for some reason. So there's different options. You can either put a tube, basically the NG tube, put it through your nose, and it goes right into your stomach. So then they can feed you that way.
And it always goes through your nose?
No, so it could be your nose. If that's like, okay, it's going to be a temporary thing for, like, we're going to put it in for now, we're going to reassess. But it's like at some point they're going to be eating again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. You can also put, if it's like, okay, this person probably won't be, they'll probably never be able to eat normally again for whatever reason. Like, obviously those are severe. They can insert it right into your stomach. So it's like, they actually insert this little, I'm blanking on the actual term of it, but they put it right in your stomach, like through the outside wall. And then that way you kind of connect to it each
Are you
time.
getting a call?
Yeah, I'm getting a phone call.
Injecting, okay, we were talking about into your stomach. You couldn't think of the word.
Yeah, I think it's a peg tube.
Peg tube?
But, yeah, so basically, I actually, during my school time, you do internships at different hospital placements or in the community or whatever, and I actually got to watch one go in.
Really? You don't deal with it at all, do you? Like the actual insertion?
No, that would be like a surgeon or someone to do. It's actually, as far as procedures go, it's very quick, and it's not a lot of hassle, like for what it is, like you're putting it right in, but basically...
Does it connect right to your stomach?
Yeah, like I don't know how. I don't want anybody, like, if they're like super grossed out by certain things. It's not like super gross, but like basically they take a big needle and they just like pop like right.
Really?
And yeah, it was kind of weird because you're standing there and then you hear like this pop and you're like,
oh, you can hear it?
It was like a puncture, kind of like a sound of a puncture that you're like, oh, okay, I feel like I can almost feel that. That was like weird.
I can't even imagine like the sound that it would make.
Yeah, like if you had like, I don't want to be like super graphic.
They can. Hopefully they're just not eating.
If you're like super not into medical procedures, maybe just like plug your ears for a second, not so you don't hear this visual part. But like if you had like a chicken and you just like poked a thing in through like a rib or a cavity or something like that, you hear that just like a pop.
Yeah.
Super weird. Yeah. I don't know why I'm dwelling on it, but
no.
Anyway, and then they put basically this little cap kind of in it so that if anything, you'd never want it to like come out, right?
Yeah. So it's gotta have a seal of some sort.
Yeah. So they kind of put that there, and then that thing.
Would it be like a Gatorade bottle? You know how like you can like squeeze it and then it like closes?
Right. It'd be a bit more involved than that, but like then this little, I don't know, like tube thing would be what you'd insert in there, and then you'd have another setup that. I haven't dealt much with that, like as far as in practice after the fact. But then you'd have your formula outside of that you just connect to the stomach hole, essentially, and then go from there.
So you just get like packets of formula, or do you?
Yeah, kind of depending on the.
You don't make it yourself, do you?
No, typically not. I mean,
just
there's
back the truck up.
Yeah, big batch of baby food coming in. Like, I mean, there are different things, and people have different views on like what you can do. Like, yeah, you just want to make sure if you do end up making your own, you definitely want to make sure you have all the right ratio of nutrients and stuff like that, you know, for the individual. But
is there any foods, for example, like you put a tube in your nose or your stomach, is there any foods that you can't eat, like that you can't get in to your system?
Well, typically in a, well, obviously, I guess if you were doing your own food and you're putting it through either the tubes, like either through the nasal tube or the peg, you wouldn't want, like, you'd never take, like, meat and, like, blend it up or whatever. No, because then you wouldn't want anything that could, like, clog the tube, potentially. Then it's hard to get.
You can't get meat that fine?
Well, like, maybe you could, but just like how that works. So there's other ways that you can get protein in there, right?
Okay.
That,
peas.
Yeah.
Or beans, I meant.
But, beans are definitely a good form of protein. But like in the hospitals, they wouldn't deal with any kind of that stuff. They'd have your like people probably heard of like Ensure or Boost, things like that. Those are already pre-made with all your different nutrients in there. So there's basically a wide range of formulas you can use for that, and you just put it in.
I grew up with a girl that always drank the Ensure.
Ensure? Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Ensure? Yeah, she always drank them.
Always.
Okay. When she was younger, she like had to or something. Is there a reason?
It could be, like some people have a hard time, like for whatever reason, getting enough calories or enough nutrients. So in those instances, it's definitely a good way to make sure you're getting all your nutrients that you need, and they're quite calorie dense too.
Okay.
So that's why it's usually pretty effective. It's like in a small amount, you can get a lot of nutrients.
In case you're lacking something in your regular diet.
Yeah.
So you only deal with people that don't know how to eat, probably.
That's more typical, especially in like a community setting or like in whenever I was working in the nutrition services, like kind of in the kitchen area, doing some supervising there, you're dealing a lot with like the menu that's already there, and then like different issues that maybe patients have. They can't have this, or they have different allergies, things like that. You're kind of troubleshooting to make sure that people have different options, different substitutions, and all their nutrient needs are being met. So that's a lot of that. And then also, so another area that you can go in as a dietitian is like management of food service spots. So could be in the hospital or could be in the community or whatever. But that's a lot of you're just kind of like supervising people as well as making sure everything is up to the latest research with nutrition and different things like that.
Following guidelines.
Yeah, definitely. Because there's always studies being done, and you're always finding out new information. So that's why sometimes people are like, they're always saying you should eat this, and then they say you don't eat this, and I don't know what to believe anymore. It's like, well, it's not that people are trying to change things. It's like as people do studies, we learn more, and like, oh, actually, we had that wrong before. It's actually more like this.
Kind of like margarine was better, and then butter was worse, and now it's actually butter is better, and margarine's now worse.
Yeah, so depending on all those different facets, right? There's so many factors and everything. And it's also the fact that it's really hard to do food studies like on people, because unless you tell somebody, okay, we're going to put you in this room, and you're only going to eat the things that we give to you, like so that you know exactly, like it's very rare that they do those in those studies. So usually it's like, okay, this person generally ate meat 2 times a week, according to like a survey they filled out. And so it's kind of like, well, how close, like how much can people recall what they've eaten for the last year normally? So there's just lots of variables and confounding factors and stuff that you have to take into consideration.
So
can be kind of tricky. Get an exact answer.
I believe. I actually test food all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So I see how my body reacts to like I'll just eat like half a cucumber every morning.
Yeah.
Like I'll try that for like 2 weeks, see how it works. Or like I'd eat like something every night before I go to bed, like cottage cheese or like fish or something, just to see how my body reacts. I do that for like 2 weeks or something. And then I tried like different fruits in the morning, see how like my body doesn't like some fruits, like pineapple in the morning. I think it's probably the acidity, but doesn't work well. But if I eat a half a cucumber, like I said, it actually like helps me throughout my day. I don't know how to explain it. Like it just like wakes me up. It's like better. I don't know, maybe it's a good source of water in me.
Yeah,
I do it all the time.
All your guess. Okay.
Yeah. The whole time. Yeah, I test all the time with my own body, like just to see how my body reacts to different foods. Not a big chicken guy. Like chicken doesn't like really do much for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But steak, I feel like makes a big change in my diet. Like it just like works for me. I don't know how. Like you just like the way I function changes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like I've tried for like a month straight of just like making sure I eat like either chicken breast a day or like most of the week pretty much. But it didn't like. It honestly didn't feel as good as like steak would. It's weird. It's really weird.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
You got a very high set of standards.
Yeah.
It has to be steak. Or nothing.
Well, no, it doesn't have
to.
It's like fish works the best for me. Out of any like in a sense, if like we were to take all the meats out of anything like fish, my body just works really good with fish. But I wouldn't have known that unless I just tried it.
Yeah.
Like I'll like try salmon for 2 weeks, and then like I don't know. I think fish for me just works amazing. And fish and eggs. But like certain vegetables. But most people don't try things like that. Like people are like, why is my mental state so bad? It's what have you been eating? Yeah. Pineapple and rice. Maybe throw something else in there. I don't know. That's what I've tried.
Yeah, it's
definitely a huge factor. Like sometimes we don't realize how big of a factor it plays in our day-to-day life. But do you find that you feel better?
Yeah, I just see how I kind of run, like gut health too.
Yeah.
You probably learned a lot about that, and it's kind of becoming a bigger thing nowadays, gut health.
Definitely.
Just the way my body feels, like some stuff would just like not settle in my stomach well, which didn't settle the rest of my body. You know what I mean? I'm not feeling great, so I'm not going to do as great at something.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was like, how did my gut feel? Like that's kind of how it, and chicken just didn't make my gut feel good, like kind of throughout the whole day.
Right, yeah.
But yeah.
No,
I don't know.
That's interesting. And yeah, it's cool that you're doing those kind of
I don't know. It's just like I'm just trying it just to see what it's like. It just was always natural. I always gravitated towards food and just like the interest of it. I don't know if I could be a dietitian or nutritionist because I don't know if I love it that much to indulge my whole life into it.
5 years learning about it, yeah.
I know exactly the calories in one raspberry.
Yeah.
What it will do to your body. No. Yeah. Is there tests you can do to see what your body reacts with better and not? Like how your blood, I don't know. I really don't know what I'm talking about, but you can take tests to see how your body would react to food, I think, right?
Yeah.
There's got to be something.
I'm not an expert in that kind of area, I'll say for sure, but I know there's like, as far as like allergy tests and stuff like that, you can, where they take, I don't know, there's different ways to do it, but like needles and with the little traces of things on it and put it into you and like kind of see how your body reacts to that based on putting it in the skin. But then there's other ways that you can.
Is that through blood? Like
kind of, I actually don't know like the whole process, but it would be kind of if you're allergic to something, then your body, once it goes in like just below the skin, like your body will sense that and they'll start fighting it, so then you'll get a reaction around that area.
You know exactly what it's gonna. And the needle has like the components of like a banana, pretty much.
Yeah.
Is that
somebody will be watching this like knowing the exact thing of like, oh my goodness, she's slaughtering it. But basically, like they have like.
Well, they don't know what they're talking about.
Follow me for more useless information.
Everybody should Google this just to make sure I'm not leading it too far astray.
Yeah, do your research while we're talking.
Yeah. No, like there'd be like traces of peanut on one, and then as for how they get that on there, I'm not actually sure. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be cool to know.
Yeah, each of the components, and then when they put it in, if your body is allergic to it, it's basically the antibodies will fight that thing, and then you'll get, redness, swelling.
Yeah. Well, everything goes to it, right? Everything's
inflammation.
What's going on? What's going on?
Mayday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think food is super important. It's the most important. And I think we lack a little bit of protein in our diets nowadays. 'Cause I don't know, I'm just saying this for my own thoughts. Like, I could be totally wrong. Anybody listening could be like, Mitchell's an idiot.
No.
But we've ate so much meat for years and years and years. So I'm guessing like we need some type of protein in our bodies like daily. And I feel like it's not as popular nowadays to do that.
Right.
I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's actually a super interesting thing to look into, because I feel like there is a perception out there that people maybe don't get enough protein a lot of the times, because you might think of like meat consumption, because obviously meat is a really good source of protein, but there's actually lots of protein in different foods that you wouldn't even think of. Like, for example, in I think it's like 3/4 of a cup of Greek yogurt, there's like way more protein than in an egg.
Mm-hmm.
But like then an egg is also a good source of protein too, and even like oatmeal has protein. Like in a lot of foods there's varying amounts of protein in it. So kind of depends on your diet and what kind of foods you're eating, but I would say for the most part people would probably be getting close to the amount of protein that they would need in a day, but maybe they may not be eating as much meat, but it kind of depends on kind of your diet preferences. But another interesting fact that people don't know is that like your protein requirements for just like a normal average person would be like 0.8. Okay, this is math. This is like a formula. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like 0.8 to like 1 or 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of your body weight. So let's just say for easy math, if you were like 60 kilograms, if that's how much you weighed, then you'd be needing roughly 60 grams of protein a day. Like, could be a little bit more, a little less.
Yeah.
And obviously if you're like an athlete or like an intense bodybuilder, things like that, it goes up, but it doesn't go up like as high as you would, as high as you would think. And I'm kind of rusty on the exact stats for like the higher end whenever you're in performance athletics and stuff like that, but it doesn't go above it. I think the highest is like 1.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. So it's definitely like if you get more protein than that, it's basically you're gonna let
loose.
Yeah, you're not just gonna, it's gonna go out as waste.
That's where the protein farts come from. It's like you're getting too much.
Exactly. And it's just kind of like in the end you're just kind of wasting your money, because protein's expensive in whatever form it is, or depending on the rest of your diet, it'll just eventually get transferred to fat, right? So
if you consume too much protein and not enough of like other like carbs and other I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Macronutrients. You'll just use protein as energy too, right? If it's not getting enough of one.
Yeah, well, protein's actually the last one that the body uses, because it's like the least efficient, right? Like the primary
like you don't want to use your protein as energy, because
definitely not from your body.
Yeah.
But like if it's like something you're ingesting, it's like okay, that's fine. But your body doesn't usually use it unless you are really low on carbs and fat, because your primary method of burning like making fuel for your body is through carbs, and then next would be fat, and then if it's in dire circumstances it'll use protein, but it's kind of like the least efficient, so your body doesn't want to use that very much.
Yeah. There's a guy that lived in Alaska, and his diet was 90% fat.
Really?
So he like just lived off the grid, just ate animals, and he ate every single piece of the animal. Like the only part that wouldn't go to waste is the antlers, I think, of an animal,
okay.
or the poop, basically.
Yeah.
Basically the poop, because there would be squirrels and rabbits out there and stuff. But yeah, 90% fat, and there was no issues with his body at all.
Right.
I forget his name. I wish I remembered, but yeah, there was no issues, and it was completely fat. But they always kept doing tests because they were like, "Oh, fat's bad."
Right.
But I don't know. Like, it's kind of crazy. But it was all natural food, like good, healthy animals. So maybe that's a game changer as well.
Yeah, and it's actually super interesting to see how the body can adapt to like different diets. So even you think of like keto diets. A true keto diet is like fat that is less than, I think it's like 60 grams a day. Carbs that are less than like 60 grams a day. So it basically makes your body convert fat to energy as his main source. So even like that whole process, it's not the body's like first way of doing things, but over time then it's like, okay, this is what we're doing now, and then just kind of like converts over. But yeah, it's like your body can definitely do amazing things whenever it's forced to.
Yeah. Oh, your body will adapt so fast.
Yeah.
So fast.
It's crazy.
But as long as you're eating right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be a little slower if you're pounding down burgers the whole time.
Yeah, it'll be maybe a little groggy.
Yeah.
Times.
What else can we get into?
Oh, yeah. Well, an interesting fact, sometimes I think of random facts, like...
No, I do it all the time.
Anyway, but maybe some of your listeners will find some facts interesting. But whenever you're talking about gut health, one of the things whenever I was going through school, I was like, oh, that's really neat. Like, I never knew that. You think of your gut health, you're like, oh, okay, like what kind of like good bacteria? Because that's basically in through your intestine and all that, how your food gets broken down and absorbed is a lot through like good bacteria and stuff like that. And there's always good and bad bacteria in varying amounts.
Isn't probiotics good bacteria? Is that what that
probiotics are like, basically what goes in. Yeah, you want to have good bacteria in your gut. So those probiotics will promote good gut health, basically. And a lot of times, like, for example, whenever I used to hear, oh, eat whole grains, you're thinking, oh, okay, that's just because, like, you know, it's healthy for you, there's fiber, but you don't know, like, why that's good for you. But one of the components of that is when you think of, like, a piece of, let's just say, white bread. So there's, like, not a lot of fiber. It's all just, like not complex carbs, but so there's complex carbs and then there's simple carbs, so, like, simple sugars. So it's very simple sugar. So it goes basically, it starts getting digested in your mouth with your saliva. Yeah. And it goes to your stomach. And then by the time it's done in your stomach, like, there's, like, nothing left. It's all been absorbed as, like, sugar into your...
Keep going. If you were to put bread in your mouth and just leave it there, it would be gone. Basically.
Yeah,
just a white piece of piece of bread.
White bread. Once it gets to your stomach, it's all digested basically already. Once it's done in the stomach, in your bloodstream as sugar. So it's like, okay, there's nothing really going to your intestines, right? After that. So all the bacteria in the intestines are like, okay, now we're hungry. So now contrast that to if you ate like a whole grain bread, the more stuff in there, the better. So you know all the simple carbs that are in there will get broken down in the stomach again. But then once it gets to your gut, it's like there's still stuff there to be broken down. So
like the seeds wouldn't break down in cold grains.
There'd be like small parts that would start getting broken down, but most of that is going to be going through your gut, right? So you're like intestine, small and large, and then your bacteria is okay, now we can eat, and it promotes good bacteria in your gut. So like those things, and then it also there's tons of different reasons why, for example, whole grain is better than white. But one of those is gut bacteria, another is stabilizing your blood sugar because you don't have a spike, kind of like as it goes through your intestine, it's broken down slowly in your bloodstream, so it keeps it more even. Yeah, so that's just an interesting fact that
that's cool. That is awesome.
I learned.
All right, get away from white bread.
No, okay.
Serves no purpose.
Right.
I wonder how Jesus did it, because he He just ate bread. Like, where would it go? But they wouldn't have had white bread probably.
Well, that's the thing. They wouldn't have had it refined as much as we would, so they'd probably have lots of that, like at the least fiber and stuff like that in there. I'm guessing.
Seeds. I think we lack that in a lot of. No, I really think we lack a lot of seeds in our. Because there's a lot out there. I think I don't know all the names of them. Yeah. But I've tried a fair amount, but chia seeds really react good with my body. I don't know why, but I've been eating them like every day.
How do you eat your chia seeds?
I put them in a smoothie.
Nice.
I mix them in a smoothie because I don't know. I had a spoonful one time. I just took a spoonful and I was like chewing forever, and then it just like there's like little oils that like come out of it. Yeah. It was just like like smacking
really
away.
Absorb the like moisture. They absorb the wetness of different things, whatever you're putting them in. So you can make cool like puddings and stuff with that.
Really?
Yeah.
Like grind up the.
You actually don't even have to grind them up. You can just if you put it in like a little bit of water for a bit, it'll kind of turn into like a gel. I don't know if you've ever tried that before, but.
Well, it happened in my mouth when I took a spoonful.
There you go, first-hand experience.
Yeah, a gel. That's exactly how to explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Make puddings.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of things you can make.
Oh, definitely.
My creativity with food is horrible. Like I couldn't think of like, oh, let me put some oregano and some olive oil and grab this and grab that and put it together and piece a dish. Like when it comes to like actually making food, I don't have any creativity behind it. Like I'd have to follow the recipe to a T, and I wouldn't have any thought of my own to be like, yeah, instead of that, I'm gonna add this. Yeah, it's horrible.
Oh yeah, no, I feel like that's a thing that's kind of like learned. Like the more you cook or the more you bake, you kind of eventually just learn like, oh, one time I made something similar to this and there was this in it and I really liked that, so I'm gonna try it with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it takes like a lot of experience to get to that point, unless you're just one who just like doesn't care and just throws it in and will try it out.
Yeah. Vincent Jones with the Cheese Whiz and
shout out to Vince.
Yeah, Cheese Whiz and gingerbread cookies or something.
Yeah. There you go.
Such a weirdo.
Apple pie and yogurt. Or,
yeah.
What's the other ones?
You're supposed to have vanilla ice cream with it. No. Yogurt.
Bologna and something else.
Yeah. No, stay away from bologna.
Yeah.
Not good.
Not good.
Or actually eat more and then you'll be able to help them.
Yeah. Eat more and come see me.
Yeah. So if you didn't do this for 10 years, you wouldn't have had this issue, but you decided to listen and
yeah. No, there's lots of fun things. That's one thing with diet, like just general advice to people is like have a varied diet. Like don't be like, yeah, every day I eat only bread for all of my meals. Like the more varied of a diet.
Like if you were to like, is meal prepping bad in the sense of, so say you had like the exact same meals 3 times a day, that would be pretty bad. Like
typically in a day, I mean, it's hard to make generalized statements, but yeah, based on the general knowledge of nutrition, it's better to have different things throughout the day. But as far as meal prepping, if you're like, oh, I'm going to make a big batch of this and kind of have it throughout the week, like every day for lunch, it's like, okay, cool. And then like for your breakfast and supper things, have something different. So you're wanting to try to get all those different food groups in there, and of course lots of vegetables. You can never go wrong. Fruit and vegetables, lots of good nutrients in there. And
I usually meal prep for my lunches. Like every lunch is usually the same, but then obviously in the morning and supper will be whatever it is.
Different, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I had a question and I lost it.
Oh, that's all right.
I don't remember.
Probably didn't have the answer anyway.
No, you did. I think it was a pretty... Oh, I don't know if it was an answer. I was just going to say, make sure your diet's the color of the rainbow.
That's right. That's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah. Just pick one food of each color and then implement that into whatever else you eat.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be too bad.
I mean, yeah, because you'd be having to go to some various types of food for that.
Is there a difference in green peppers, red peppers, and yellow peppers?
Do you know what? That's one of those things that you're like, oh man, I need to look that up and like get the exact facts on those things. But I'm pretty sure that the different peppers are just like the stages of ripeness.
Really?
So I think green is like the least ripe, and then it goes to, I'm pretty sure it goes yellow, then orange, and then red. But
But what about when they're just big and they're all the? I guess, yeah. You know, like a big. I kind of want to look it up. Yeah.
But there's probably variations as well.
Difference in colored peppers. The color of bell peppers changes from green to yellow to orange to red. The longer it is allowed to mature on the plant. Green peppers feature a more bitter flavor profile. Orange and yellow bell peppers are sweeter, with the sweetest being the red. What? But they're all the same size.
Yeah, I think...
I don't notice it, though. I don't notice, like, when I eat a pepper, like, I don't notice an orange one being different than a green one.
Like in taste?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, I find there's a big difference. Well, particular between, like, green and then the other ones. Like red, orange, and yellow. But I find that, yeah, that, like, orange, yellow, and red kind of, like, blend together in taste. But definitely, there's something about a green pepper. I love... The taste of a good green pepper.
My favorite's beans, like garden fresh beans. Oh, with some dirt on it.
Oh yeah.
Eat it away.
Those are also good for good bacteria in your guts.
Yeah.
Well, depending what kind of bacteria, but.
Depending what you're putting in your soil too.
Yeah.
Some lamb poop.
Okay, I don't want anybody like coming back being like, you told me to eat some of this soil. Yeah, so maybe wash it off first, but
well, this isn't
use soap.
This isn't really health advice, is it?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Put a disclaimer at the beginning about this podcast.
Google everything before you do anything on this podcast, okay?
Ask your doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a good rule of thumb. Everyone is a bit different. So.
Yeah, we'll make a morning commercial. Or a first episode commercial. Hey, this is Mitchell and Lydia. We just wanted to let you know.
Yeah.
We don't know everything we're talking about.
I know, it's hard to believe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So what made you want to get into it?
That's actually a good question. I feel like it was kind of like yourself, where I had just a general interest in food, and like I like to bake and stuff like that. And I actually, when I first went to university, I was planning to do respiratory therapy. So I went to school to do my first year in general science. And while I was waiting to get into respiratory therapy, I actually switched over to nutrition, like food and nutrition program at UPEI. And I was like, okay, well, we'll just see how this goes. And then I ended up, really liking it, and even the different opportunities that you'd have afterwards of where you could work.
Mm-hmm.
I really was like, I think I really like this. So ended up switching, and then the way it works, you do like your undergrad, so your 4-year program in foods and nutrition, and then to become a dietitian, you have to do an internship. So you can either do it, the one that I did was an integrated program, so you started at the end of your 3rd year, and then you do some placements all through the summer. Then you go back, do your 4th year, and then you do placements again after that. So if you didn't do an integrated program, it's usually 5 years for you to get everything done. But then there's other ways, like you could graduate from foods and nutrition and do like a master's type degree afterwards. But so you have to do a little bit extra to do the dietetics portion, and then you got to write your national exam and be
get
registered.
Certified by Canada.
Yeah, that's right. You have to do that, and depending which province you're in, you register with that.
You register with a province.
Yeah, and
okay.
So I would be registered with the Prince Edward Island Dietetic Registration Board.
Would you have
but
to?
Then if I was going to practice in another province, I'd have to transfer. Like I couldn't just be like, oh yeah, it's good everywhere. It's like I can only practice.
So PEI would be more based on like potatoes when you have to do your
Actually, the doesn't really change that much. All the information is the same across, like the same recommendations and everything, but just kind of accountability wise, I guess would be the way to put it.
Yeah. Do dietitians deal with animals' nutrition?
Nothing that I've experienced. Like we didn't learn anything in that way during my schooling, but I actually don't know if I'm sure there's people out there who deal with animal nutrition, but I don't know what their schooling would be.
Yeah, I'm just
reach out if you reach out if you're a
come talk to me on here and then educate hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Thousands.
Thousands.
I think there's thousands listening. Over 1,000.
Nice.
Not bad, eh?
Yeah, that is.
I believe. I gotta check the.
I'm getting nervous now.
Yeah.
There's that many people. No,
so many. Yeah, just don't give out your coordinates, and then
really.
you'll be all right.
Can I change my name?
I was just like kind of going back into my brain, and I remember seeing like a title of animal nutrition, but I never did any more research into it, but I should.
There definitely would be people who would deal with the animal nutrition. I just wouldn't know what their title is, and
they'd be more of a scientist probably.
Yeah.
Because you're not really like dealing with humans. They're just like, it's an animal. Yeah. We'll just throw some maggots in there.
More barley.
Yeah. Yeah, I really don't know. I should try to get in contact with people. And I got to go to universities and just like ask around.
Oh,
be like, hey, you're an expert here? Perfect.
Excuse me, do you work here?
Yeah. I live right by a university, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely.
But they're, I looked at what Kingswood has, and they kind of limited on what they got for like bachelors, but oh well. Still learn something.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep. Now where can we go with this?
No, I had something whenever we were talking. I forget what. Oh, I think it was way back. Another random fact, if you want.
I want a random fact. Yes.
Okay, it's a really lame fact, so I hope I didn't hype it up too much. But just whenever you're talking about cooking, versus like you didn't specifically say baking or whatever, but it's interesting that cooking is more of a. It's more forgiving whenever you're making it, because you can be like, oh yeah, I will add a little bit of oregano, and you can kind of be like, okay, add a little bit of this and that, and it's more about flavor. And of course, there's different different ways of like cooking meat to make it more or less tender, like however you want to do that. But it's a lot more forgiving with like, okay, I have a big pot of chili. I'm just gonna let it cook for like however long I want.
Yeah.
And like the flavors, I'll just let them sit. But like with baking, it's actually more of a science. And whenever like part of the schooling, whenever we were doing our classes and stuff, is like the actual science of baking, and like, okay, you put baking powder in there, and what does that actually do, or what are other ways that products are like leavened, how they raise and stuff like that. So it was actually really neat. Like we'd be writing science reports on literally a batch of cookies.
That's sweet.
Like, wow, this is weird. But
that is like a lab in a sense?
Oh, yeah. It was a food lab.
Wow.
So you do all these random things, and we do experiments, and really opens up a whole new area of...
Everybody gains 20 pounds outside of their degree.
Basically, yeah. If you didn't, then you're probably not going to pass this course.
You don't know how your food tastes. Yeah, you're right. Cooking individual food is a little more forgiving with making an error, because you can always... Again, the variables and the factors, you can change from temperature to oils to whatever you want to add or take away. It's really not that bad. Yeah,
or even like mixing. Like you got to be really careful with how much you mix certain things. Or if you're trying to make a meringue, like you want to mix it more. Yeah. Like, yeah, it's
this
really
is just lemon. That's it.
Yeah, the different properties of food. Super interesting.
Yeah, you're right. Baking is a science, really.
Yeah.
So the best bakers, like, they should have a degree or a master's in baking.
Yeah, well, not necessarily, but they definitely understand the how each ingredient will impact their cooking. Whether they probably don't think of it scientifically.
No.
But they know, like, okay, this how to do things really well.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I guess like high school you did like some food labs, but
yeah,
I didn't even think about how far you could take it. I guess you got to break down every single food, right?
Yeah.
You kind of have to.
Yeah, it's no, but it's pretty fun though. One of my favorite labs.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
I'm lost for thoughts right now.
Hey, that's all right. What's your typical, like, I know you say you try different foods every few weeks and stuff like that, but what's your favorite kind of foods?
Seafoods.
Any
like aquatic foods.
Yeah.
I love seafood.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a game changer. I think we just naturally gravitate towards seafood.
Yeah.
Raised by fishermen.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, any seafood, like I actually haven't tried oysters, but just think of anything from squid to mussels to clams to lobster, crab, anything. Like, I love it so much. I don't know. that'd be my go-to. If I could eat that all day, I'd be happy.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Seaweed. Dulse.
No, that's good.
Or sushi, like anything like that. It's amazing. But I don't know. I do like meat, and I really like everything. The only food I don't like, and anybody that really knows me, is stuffing.
Really?
It's the only thing I don't like.
Oh,
Anything else
stuffing.
I'll eat. I'll eat anything. But stuffing, I'll literally like throw up if I eat it. Yeah, it's no, I don't. I quease. I can't even stand it.
Wow, that's an interesting one. I've never heard of someone.
Everybody
not liking
loves
stuffing.
stuffing.
Yeah.
Do you like stuffing?
I love
Yeah,
stuffing.
of course you do. Of course you do. I've only met one person that doesn't like stuffing.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's it's a new one. I think the only thing that I don't like there's things that I'll be like, nah, I could take it or
me
leave
too.
it, but like if someone was making me something and I didn't want to be rude, I'd be like, oh sure, like I can eat as much of this as I need to be polite. But one thing I really do not like, and I've been like trying to make myself, because that's another random fact, is that
Every morning.
well, it's blue cheese.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think
Another
Dad loves blue cheese.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know what it is for me. It like reminds me of paint. Like, I don't know why. It's just my brain. But it is a
Like
fact.
it tastes
that
like
if you,
paint would taste? Is that what you think? Or just like...
yeah, like it feels like some paint has leaked into this food.
I mean, it is mold.
Yeah, I know.
They might dye it with paint.
Kill
They
it
just
with
like inject it with blue.
Maybe.
That's
that
weird.
makes
Blue
sense
cheese.
now.
I'm not a big cheese fan.
No,
No,
in general.
just in general.
Okay.
But
I don't
yeah,
like
blue cheese. I don't know if I could do it. People put blue cheese sauce on like their wings. That's a common thing. That's a really
okay.
popular
That's
thing.
one way to ruin wings for me.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. There's gonna be people that are like, "Are you kidding me?
Like,
blue cheese?"
Okay, I am unfollowing right now.
That's the only reason wings are existing right now. Yeah.
But it is true that the more you try a food, I know it's like not a fun process because you hate it most of the time, but then you actually can change your taste buds to like things. And it has happened in my life in different things where
Yeah, I used to hate
more you
gravy, and now I like love gravy. Like,
Yeah,
it's one of
it's
those
like
things.
actually acquired tastes that you can actually get to liking something.
Yeah. Recently married.
Yeah.
How's it feel?
Hey, it's like pretty awesome, and also pretty like there's so many new things. I feel it's just like getting used to like the fact I signed my name on here, like Lydia
Yeah.
McCandless.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
even like changing it in how I refer to myself. It's like, oh yeah, I like it's something like but then in your brain, like that's just like quick to react.
Yeah.
You go back to like your original what you've always known. So it's like, okay, gotta remember.
Getting used to that. No, that's a big change, especially for a woman, because like most men don't have to do anything.
I know, you don't have to deal with that,
Yeah.
right? So I have to actually go. I wasn't ready to do like all the paperwork right away because I was like, oh, I can't. I feel like after planning a wedding and everything, your brain's already like, okay, I just need some time to like recoup. So now I think I'll be going down to the Access PEI, changing my license, all that stuff, and get the ball rolling soon.
It is going to be weird putting your name on the title.
Yeah.
And then being like
Lydia
McCandless.
Wow.
She used to be a Rainer.
Yeah.
Now she's
Rainer.
a McCandless.
Yeah. Always a Rainer, but.
Why do you need like a licensed person to get you married? Do you know that? Is there an answer for, or do you know the answer for that, I guess?
That's a really good question. Probably because of all the like legal implications it would have, maybe that it just couldn't.
Yeah.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like, you need to be certified as like a person that can unite two people together, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess it's just to have maybe some formal process of like, okay, it's legit. Like,
yeah. I guess without it,
question.
maybe everybody would just be saying.
Yeah.
Kind of holds a foundation for all the paperwork, maybe, for people. It's
Yeah,
like,
in
you're coming in.
the official sense.
Yeah, millions of people now.
Yeah.
There'd be so many more divorces, probably.
Yeah.
Just because they don't have a legit person to get them married.
Yeah, really.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's a good question. I really haven't thought of it that before.
Me either until now.
Wow, it's the enlightening water.
Yeah. Yeah, what is in this stuff? Those green peppers and orange peppers.
Oh, yeah. This is bone broth. No, I'm just kidding.
What else do you do besides... More about Lydia. What else do you do besides food?
Food? Well, I
Sleep?
I sleep a little bit. I feel like I've been sleeping more lately. But yeah, I used to have a problem getting enough sleep.
Oh, really?
Kind of shortchange myself. Yeah, because I'm like a night person. So I'd get like my energy. I'm getting better now because I'm getting more used to going to bed early at a decent time. But
maybe you're just getting older.
Oh, that could be it. Shh.
See some gray hairs coming in. No, I'm just joking.
Blonde.
Oh, get it right.
No, it used to be like 8:30, 9 o'clock when everybody'd be like winding down. I'd be like, oh man, what kind of projects can I get into? And then it'd be like 12, like 1 o'clock. Like, yeah, for the last year, like probably last year and years before that, yeah, I'd go to bed at like 12, 1, wake up at like 6, 7, or even earlier, depending on what I had going on. But yeah, so it really wasn't good. But then you just get used to functioning at that level, and everybody be like, Lydia, that's
schedule.
Not good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know, but I feel fine. But then I feel as you get older, you do need more sleep to like function at good level.
There's a weird stage with sleep. It's like you need a lot when you're growing up into your 20s, and then I feel like you can like back off a little bit.
Yeah.
Or maybe it just gets less and less. You feel like you need more?
Well, yeah, I feel like where I was in my mental state when I wasn't getting a lot of sleep, like you feel like, oh yeah, like I'm a little tired, but like I can still function fine until you get more sleep. And then you're like, actually, I don't think I was functioning as good as I thought I was. Like you just get used to it. So you think that's just your normal functioning. But yeah, I think it definitely is better to have a bit more sleep. But like,
I mean, every body varies. Your diet varies for your sleep.
Yeah. All that caffeine, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, stop drinking coffee at 9 p.m. It's just not working good.
Yeah. Caffeine. It's a big
you
one.
Caffeine guru?
I love coffee. I was really enjoying your podcast.
Oh, yeah, the
few
coffee
episodes
one.
Ago with
Piccadilly right there.
Yeah, that's right. No, I don't. Actually, side note, Piccadilly coffee is awesome because Kirsten gave us some for our wedding present.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it really is amazing. And I never liked coffee, but they gave me a gift certificate. They actually gave me a couple gift certificates. They're amazing human beings. And I just go in and get something different, but every single one turned out amazing. So yeah, it's a good spot. And anybody listening, go support them.
Piccadilly coffee.
Yeah, they're awesome.
No, coffee is I love the taste of coffee. Like I usually, for a while there, I used to just drink black coffee, and then I was like, maybe I should like put a little bit of milk or cream into it. So I feel like every year or every like 6 months I'll change up my coffee drinking.
A little cinnamon in there.
Now I'm on to like 1 cream. I just have 1 cream in my coffee, and then sometimes I'll do like 1 milk, 1 cream, which everyone at like if I'm going through Tim Hortons or McDonald's, they're like, what was that? 1 milk, 1 sugar? No. 1 milk, 1 cream. They're like, oh, okay. I always have to repeat it at least once.
I wonder how many times people get it wrong, especially through a drive-through. It's like, can I get just a cream? And then it's like, oh, just a sugar.
Yeah.
They're like, I always get cream. It's like, well, you don't know.
No, but coffees are good. And yeah, I try not to drink too much though. Like I will in my regular day just drink like 1 coffee, maybe 2 if it's a special day or I'm particularly tired.
Yeah.
But
you got 3 more clients to deal with.
Yeah. Just like, oh, it's a 2 coffee type of day. Yeah.
You always were comfortable with the camera.
No.
And you were always messing around. Are you doing any projects right now with filming or?
Yeah. So that was the thing. Like for a while, I was doing a lot of like wedding videos. So I did that for several years. I forget what my final tally is, but I did like over 50 weddings, I guess, just kind of on the side while I was going to school. And it was definitely a fun way to learn different camera things. But it's also, then once I started working, it's really busy on top of having a full-time job. And
there's a lot of planning involved.
Well, yeah. And people don't, like, you probably realize now because you're doing these videos for your channel. I
filmed my first wedding not too long ago.
That's right. Oh, I just saw the preview for that. That's awesome. I didn't even know you're into that. That's
Nick
that's sweet.
My friend, we did it together. He did a lot, but I don't know. I learned a lot more than what I would have if I didn't do it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's
definitely.
a lot of work.
It's a good learning experience. It's a good way to meet a lot of people too.
Yeah, the meeting
I know you're a
thing
people
was,
person.
Yeah, I am a people person. Meeting people is amazing, and a lot of people. It might have helped that I was somewhat familiar with the families. Well, one family in particular, but a lot of them like would come talk and like, you're doing amazing. Like really, like they realized how much work was going into it, and I didn't even realize going into it how much work it was until you're in it, and then like we're going from location to location, and you're like driving. You're like about to pass out.
Oh, it's tiring. And then I feel like the other thing is like not the burden, but like the thought in your head that you're like, this is their wedding. Do not mess up. Like you want it to be like perfect.
This is here for 60 years.
Yeah.
Like
this is a special day.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then of course, you know, the editing that goes in after, like people don't even realize it's like the whole day of shooting.
Yeah.
And you're like, people are like, wow, it's a long day for you. And you're like, yeah, then I got to edit it after.
Yeah.
So that takes a long time.
And it's not just like editing looks like it's just like these small clips, but you got to go through the whole thing just to see what you want out of the of that full clip. And then you got to deal with audio and link it all. And if anybody that doesn't understand computers or editing or cameras at all, it's a lot of work.
It's
really like tedious is. In a sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless you enjoy it, which I do, so it's not too bad, but
I can usually quote like a lot of the videos that I've done. By the end of it, it's like you've heard it so many times because you're like playing it through to make sure it's like just right, and you're like saying it after.
Oh yeah, especially when you got to go back and repeat the same clip 4 times. Yeah, and then the same video, and you watch it like 6 times to make sure it's okay, and then then the next day you make sure you watch it like 2 more times to make sure it's okay. Yep. And you're like, oh, and then you get somebody to watch it for you. Yeah.
Hey, we all have the same process.
I know. Like. It's brutal.
Yeah, but in the end, it is rewarding because, well, generally people do like it, and it's like really cool to see their day on film.
Yeah. So 50 weddings.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Something like that. Because I hadn't really written them down. Like I never had a list of like, oh, how many weddings did I do? But then I did sit down like a little while ago and I wrote it out. I was like, oh yeah, because you always forget about the ones. You're like, oh yeah, I did that one too. I forgot. And like you said, it is cool whenever you know the people too, because you can kind of be part of their day and kind of feel at ease, but that you also have a purpose.
Did you do many that you didn't know?
Just probably like half a dozen or a dozen at the most that I didn't like, that I had no idea of. Sometimes it was like a friend's of a friend kind of thing. But
somebody just recommended you. And yeah. Jake McCandless is getting married.
That's right.
Yeah. So
that's exciting.
I think me and Nick are gonna try to film it again, or film another one for him. So it's nice that, I don't know, another family that I feel comfortable with. So
definitely.
But yeah, eventually there will be probably a time where it's like, I don't know these people at all. Yeah. What is going on?
Yeah.
And then you do talk to less people, and you're kind of just by yourself, and it's like, oh.
Do you think that would be something you could see yourself doing, like on the side in the future, or just kind of see how it goes?
See how it goes for now. It's nice that I am close to the people, so they're kind of more eased on like, all right, it doesn't need to be complete professional.
Definitely, yeah.
But I also need to get better equipment.
Yeah.
It is hard. Like I got a few different side projects as well as trying to do my own life at the same time. It's like,
that's
and then try to like add more things to the pile. It can be tough, but I wouldn't mind doing like maybe one every couple of years or something, just to spice it up a little bit.
Keep the skills fresh.
Yeah.
Do something a little different.
Dealing with all the frames and the white balance and I start spitting all the knowledge.
Whoa.
I don't know that much about cameras, but my friend Nick, he's pretty knowledgeable. I wouldn't say he's an expert, but he knows a lot more than I do. So if I do have any questions, then it works out good.
That's helpful, and to have like a team, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then you can bounce ideas, and it's nice because you can just feed off each other. Hey, like you like don't want to yell across the ceremony, but
like head nod, subtle head nod.
Start doing
walking away. That is signed for.
Yeah.
It is true though what you mentioned. Like you do throughout life, I've realized you only have so much time, and then you get more responsibilities. So it's not like you can drop everything and just.
I know.
Like so you have to pick. Like okay, what things am I gonna do? So that can be like a growing up moment where you're like, I can't do this anymore because it takes too much time, and I have all these other things that are like higher priority for whatever reason. But you have to prioritize, right?
As I am getting a little older and older, I've heard more conversations like that where it's like, all right, you're going to have to pick 2 or 3 things. And that's pretty much what it's going to be for the rest of your life, really. Like, obviously, you're going to be able to do a bunch of stuff in between, but to really, like, have kind of some main things, it's going to be very little stuff.
Yeah.
Which kind of, it does suck. It's going to happen. No matter how much money or how much fame you have and opportunities, you're still going to be focused on probably 5 things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's a hobby, jobs, where else can you, I don't know.
Yeah.
Entertainment, whatever you do.
Yeah. I don't know, your skills.
So like you, for an example, like I'm just going to say random things, but dietitian, filming, traveling, and family. I don't know. Those could be like basically your 4 things that you don't want just those 4 things. You want more, but that's going to pretty much be what it is. And I'm just saying random things. Like
Well, yeah.
Maybe it's knitting for you or
I'm a huge knitter. No, just kidding.
Building stuffed animals.
That's one thing I was like, nope, I don't think I'll be good at this. So we're just going to put this aside real early.
Yeah. You're not ready for grandmother yet, but
yeah, we'll get there. I'm going to be an aunt though. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
First time being an aunt. Woo.
That's crazy. And I'm going to be an uncle.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, we'll be
Be
sharing
weird.
baby stories.
Yeah.
Remember
that time when
my niece or nephew is cuter than yours?
No.
No. We wouldn't have those conversations.
We might. Depends how many potatoes they eat.
Let's face it, it's Kirsten and Bennett, so they probably look similar.
Yeah,
anyway,
true. You're right. You are right. They are the same people, just different genders.
My brother and
my sister.
Your sister. For the listeners who may not know, because we're cousins. Yeah, they look more like than explosion effect.
Yeah.
They look more like than like me and my brother. You definitely look more like your siblings than I look like my brother.
You think? Who do you think I look like more?
Actually, I feel like at one stage you and Bennett looked like a lot alike, but now
Really?
Well, I feel like it was
maybe
like
when I was
facial
younger
hair and glasses. Anyway, there's a picture you looked pretty similar.
I did have a full beard.
Yeah.
Now I have just this weird stash.
Yeah.
I did it yesterday. I was gonna shave it off yesterday. I don't know if I like it, but
hey, I think you can pull it off.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I
mean,
kind of.
it'll
I
become
don't
a
know
new
if I
trend.
can pull it off, but like.
Wax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should do it.
Well, that'd be painful.
Just leave the two.
Yeah, just leave it.
Just leave these 2 outsides. Wax everything in the middle. Just leave 2 little tufts.
Then I could see it becoming a trend, and
it's a beauty mark where like 2 little circles of hair right on the edge of each lip.
I'm not ready.
No.
I'm not ready for that.
No, that wouldn't be a nice trend going around. Yeah, that the realizing that you can't do everything is horrible. Like just for hobbies, for an example, like I wish I could surf, snowboard, soccer, ping pong, spike ball. Like I'm just naming like a bunch of sports, but really like gonna have to crunch those down a little bit if you really want to indulge in that certain activity.
Yeah, and get to like a level of proficiency.
Yeah, like something that you want to keep getting better at, and you can't do that when the numbers go up. You're just the less skill on each one is possible, pretty much. Yeah, it does suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you're gonna choose surfing, like you got to be able that you're gonna be near water a lot. You got to make sure that you're out quite a bit, if not like once a week. But if that's not that important, then you're not gonna be able to go near. Or I don't know where I'm going with this, but you know what I mean.
I know where you're going with that. And it's true. But
well, I think we'll end it here because you got to go back to your island and
gotta go back to Prince Edward Island.
Yeah, go do whatever you got to do. I was gonna say work, but you're not a dietitian at the moment.
Yeah, well, I do have to work on Monday, but not doing nutrition things.
Yeah. So thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Me.
Yeah, you're an amazing guest.
Hey, you're
Lydia McCandless,
awesome
everybody. An
Thanks.
awesome host.
Awesome host, Mitchell Jones.
Yeah. The podcast that will be coming out this week, Sam, he claimed that this was his podcast, so
okay.
I was his guest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
my apologies, Sam. Sorry.
Yeah. This is actually Sam's podcast, so
okay.
Oh well. Awesome.
No.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mitchell.
Perfect.
Great to be here.
Thanks.